In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
It got up to like $68,000. My heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we're expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at advertise@k98talk.org. The leader in talk radio on the Internet, right here on K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network.
We believe in the American way, and we built this country called the USA, and we fly our flag because we're proud and free, we're Americans. Red, white, and blue is our way of life. We never back down from a challenge or a fight. Nature provides, God gives the rights, we're Americans. We fish the waters and we hunt the lands. We forge the steel with our own two hands. With what we've got, we do the best we can. We're Americans.
It's time now for the Conservative Curmudgeon Radio Show on K98 Talk. Now, here's Grouchy.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the program. We got a few things to talk about tonight. Oh, my God. Mr. Producer, I'm getting feedback extraordinary.
Not hearing it on my end, so I'm not sure what it is.
Okay. Well, right now it seems to have gotten a little better. You are a genius. See, it's that easy. You just tell him something and he fixes it. You can't pay for that kind of service. I mean, that's only the kind of service you can get for free. All right. Anyway, he got the joke. Trust me.
Oh yeah, I'm over here laughing. I just didn't want to unmute.
Yeah, to hell with me, right? Okay. So the big deal going on right now. Everybody's talking about Trump and his proposed ban on Muslim immigrants. Temporary ban. You notice nobody's mentioning that part of it? They act like Trump just wants to shut the gates and that's it forever and ever, amen, no more Muslims in America. You know what, folks? Let me go ahead and stir the pot a little bit. Let me light the flame just a little bit here and pull the trigger on the flamethrower. I think he came up short. I think we need to curtail all immigration in the United States right now on a temporary basis. How temporary? Well, it depends on a few things. We have 94.61 million Americans out of the labor force. It is once again a record number this month. All this while the Obama administration, yes, that's right, the total pussy who doesn't give a shit about terrorism, as they say on Fox News, it cost both of them 2 weeks, so hopefully it doesn't cost me 2 weeks. But
maybe
anyway,
2 minutes. We'll just put you in the penalty box. It'll be all good.
Just a 2-minute penalty box? I'll serve it tomorrow night.
No, we'll take a break that's at least 2 minutes long here in a little bit, so just consider that your penalty.
Okay, good enough. So anyway, we've got 94.61, and I think I said, million, outside of the labor force in the United States. How many more people do we need to bring into the United States when we can't put 95 million people to work? Most of these people have already gone ahead and slid into an early retirement based on their age. Some of these people are just so frustrated because they can't find a job. Now, granted, I will be the first one to say you move to where the work is. Okay, you apply for work where there's work, and if you get work, you move to that job. I get that. And I'm sure that not everybody out there does. But damn it, this is the United States of America, and there is no way that we should have 94.61 million Americans outside of the labor force while we're bringing in immigrants to take jobs at a lower pay rate. Okay? I don't get warm tinglies when I shake Zuckerberg's hand. First of all, I wouldn't shake Zuckerberg's hand. I got something for Zuckerberg to shake, but I'm not going to go into that on the air. And I'll tell you what, Disney, you got the last of my money having employees train H-1B workers to fill their positions right before you get rid of them. That's disgusting. I'm sick of it. I'm sick and tired of Americans being second and third class citizens in our own country. Does this mean I'm on board with Trump all the way as a candidate? No, it does not. He's got some things that I can't reconcile with. And I don't have a candidate picked yet. I'll go ahead and say that right now, too. I'm still in the sit back and soak it all in stage. All right, there's a few people that I know I won't be voting for in the primaries. Okay, I'll go ahead and tell you that right now. Pataki's not getting my vote. Gilmore's not getting my vote. Lindsey Graham's not getting my vote. And Jeb Bush is not getting my vote. And neither is John Kasich. But I have not settled on a candidate. Now, Trump has a point here, though. Not only on the safety side of it, but on the employment side of it, which I haven't heard him address yet. I don't know if he just hasn't gotten around to it. I don't know if he's even thought of it because, quite frankly, who knows with this guy? I mean, some of his ideas are so off the wall that you don't know what he thought of when he was, when he had this epiphany to propose banning Muslim immigration. Why not go all the way? I think that right now, for somebody to be approved as an immigrant coming into the United States, they should have to develop a skill that nobody else in the United States possesses that will benefit the United States. And you should have to put that on display and prove it before you're approved to come in. Now, does it have to last forever? No, just like Trump said, it does not have to last forever. We've got crap to do in this country, though. We have a lot of work to do here at home. And like I said, I'm sick and tired of Americans being the second and third class citizens in our own country. Now, there's something else going on tonight a lot of people may or may not know about. They're actually marching in the streets of Chicago. Hundreds and hundreds of people marching in the streets calling for the resignation of Mayor Rahm Emanuel. Not a bad idea on face value. I think it would be fantastic if Rahm Emanuel were to shrivel up like a plum in the summer sun and shrivel away into nothingness, to never be heard from again. However, there's a lot of misguidance in this protest. They are just protesting Rahm Emanuel. They don't understand the bigger picture. The liberal policies that created Rahm Emanuel, that created what Chicago is today, what Illinois is today politically. They don't understand how it has affected everything, not just Rahm Emanuel. Quite frankly, the city of Chicago, on both a political and probably a citizenry nature, and you can take this for what it's worth, on both sides of the political fence, on every side of the human fence, and especially on every side of the political side, it needs a good enema and a flushing. Chicago should be forced to start over from scratch. And there's a couple other places that could use the same treatment. But anyway, that's enough of that. Now, something else that I didn't do a lot of prep on, but I saw it and it caught my ear, and we're going to talk about it for a minute or two. We have a Republican hypocrite that needs to be called out. And this pains me being a conservative at nature, but I have to do it because they're not doing their job. Okay? Mike McCall, Representative Congressman Mike McCall from Texas, is the head of the Immigration and Naturalization. I forget the exact name of the committee there in the House, but he's the head of this committee that covers immigration. And he's talking about how they need to stiffen this policy and they need to stiffen that policy. This is the same idiot that's proposing not building the wall on the southern border because he thinks it's more effective to put up concrete bulwarks that stop vehicles from crossing the border at certain points, but would allow workers to drive up to them, get out of their truck, walk across the border, go to work in Texas, and then have to check back out at the end of the day when they went back home to Mexico. Mr. McCall, you are an idiot. Okay? I'm sure you're a very nice person on a very personal level, but you are an idiot and a hypocrite when it comes to immigration policy. You cannot have it every which way. Don't tell me that your way is more effective at the southern border. Effective for what? Keeping more Americans out of work? Now, that covers a little bit of the rant, the unprepared material. We're going to slide into what should we call this? The scolding of America that Barack Obama delivered Sunday night. In his nationally televised address following the San Bernardino terrorist attack, Obama said that the terrorists in San Bernardino had embraced a, quote, perverted interpretation of Islam, and that they had also adopted a familiar form of violence all too prevalent in America. Now let's just stop here for a minute. He said that they embraced a perverted interpretation of Islam. And we're gonna play some of his audio here shortly. Mr. Producer's just alerted me that he has it queued up. I was unaware when I sent him the link for the audio that it was as massive as it was, but I am certain that Mr. Producer has taken it upon himself to make things right with that. But I want to hit on this point before we go to the audio. Apparently, our Commander-in-Chief, our President of the United States, has not read the Quran. He has not read in the Quran where it says to convert those that will convert and to kill the rest. He has not read in the Quran where taqiyya, which is lying to further the cause of Islam, is an acceptable practice, no matter what, as long as you're serving Islam. He has not read the Quran where it talks about how physical violence against women is acceptable. He has not read the Quran where it makes exceptions for lonely Muslim men to take farm animals if they need to. They didn't embrace a perverted interpretation of Islam, Mr. President. Islam is perverted. All right. Let's go ahead and cue the audio so I can take a breather here before I get steamed up and start cussing worse than Ralph Peters and Stacey Dash. Hit it, Mr. Producer. Let's let them hear Barry.
The threat from terrorism is real, but we will overcome it. We will destroy ISIL and any other organization that tries to harm us. Our success won't depend on tough talk or abandoning our values or giving in to fear. That's what groups like ISIL are hoping for. Instead, we will prevail by being strong and smart, resilient and relentless, and by drawing upon every aspect of American power. Here's how. First, our military will continue to hunt down terrorist plotters in any country where it is necessary. In Iraq and Syria, airstrikes are taking out ISIL leaders, heavy weapons, oil tankers, infrastructure. And since the attacks in Paris, our closest allies, including France, Germany, and the United Kingdom, have ramped up their contributions to our military campaign, which will help us accelerate our effort to destroy ISIL. Second, we will continue to provide training and equipment to tens of thousands of Iraqi and Syrian forces fighting ISIL on the ground so that we take away their safe havens. In both countries, we're deploying special operations forces who can accelerate that offensive. We've stepped up this effort since the attacks in Paris and will continue to invest more in approaches that are working on the ground. Third, we're working with friends and allies to stop ISIL's operations, to disrupt plots, cut off their financing, and prevent them from recruiting more fighters. Since the attacks in Paris, we've surged intelligence sharing with our European allies. We're working with Turkey to seal its border with Syria. And we are cooperating with Muslim-majority countries and with our Muslim communities here at home to counter the vicious ideology that ISIL promotes online. That's why I've ordered the Departments of State and Homeland Security to review the visa waiver program under which the female terrorist in San Bernardino originally came to this country. And that's why I will urge high-tech and law enforcement leaders to make it harder for terrorists to use technology to escape from justice.
What is your major malfunction, numbnuts?
And that's about perfect for him, too. Thank you, Mr. Producer. That was fantastic. By the way, if you would like to add your comments, feel free to dial me up at 408-681-8255. That's 408-681-8255. Whether you agree with me, whether you disagree with me, whether you hate me, whether you love me, it's all good. We can talk about it all. So that was the president's, I can't call it what it really is. Well, Ralph Peters did and Stacey Dash did, but like I said, they got 2 weeks vacation for their trouble. Let's just say that the president's 15-minute address Sunday night was a huge steaming pile of male bovine excrement. Now, the Obama administration, which includes the U.S. Attorney General Loretta Lynch, God help us all, they're quick to point out that they have no current evidence that the killers were directed by a terrorist organization from overseas or that they were part of a broader conspiracy here at home. Now, while they're quick to say that, there's evidence coming out that they were linked to extremists here in the United States. So what they're not giving you is the whole story, as usual. But look, this is really nothing new when it comes to our president, is it? Let's just, Obama went on, he went on in his speech to politicize his gun control movement. Of course, he wasn't going to let that go to waste. The fact of the matter is it's really starting to look like there were straw purchases made, which is illegal. There really is no way to stop a straw purchase. You don't know if someone is going into a store to buy a weapon for somebody else. When they come in and they pay for that weapon and they register that weapon, you're trusting that it's for them and not for someone other than them. There is no way to confirm that. You can't stop somebody from coming to pick their gun up a week later after everything is cleared and then walking out of the store with it, driving home and handing it to their neighbor. There's no mechanism that's going to stop that. Doesn't mean I have to like that, but there is nothing that the president is proposing that would stop the terrorists from getting guns. What he wants to do is he wants to stop law-abiding John and Jane Q. citizen from getting guns. Now, he went on to say that it was clear that these two terrorists, the husband and wife team, had gone down the dark path of radicalization. When he said that, the first thing that hit in my head was Darth Vader's theme music. When he comes marching, dun 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 dun. The dark path of radicalization. Whatever. Quit being an idiot. He acts like that because that's what he thinks about us. He thinks we're the idiots. Yes, they had stockpiled weapons. They had stockpiled some ammunition. I don't know how much of a stockpile you would really call that. They said 1,600 total rounds. I'm sorry, my safe boasts more than that. Maybe you call me a prepper, maybe you call me insane, but I keep 1,000 rounds of each caliber for each weapon. So, and when I go to the range and spend 200 rounds, I replace that 200 rounds, so I keep 1,000 rounds in my safe. But anyway, he called for Congress to enact greater restrictions on gun ownership by Americans. Yeah. And look, here's something else. Oh my God, it's 7:26. Okay, we might run past the true bottom of the hour, Mr. Producer, by a minute or two covering this. President Obama wants to prohibit gun purchases by anybody that is on the TSA's no-fly list. Folks, I don't know if you've been paying attention to this or not. You don't have to do anything to be placed on a no-fly list. The minute that this becomes a policy or a law or an executive order or anything else, it has to be challenged in court instantly. Let me tell you something. You can be put on the no-fly list for blowing your nose. And there is no recourse. There is nobody to contact. There is no day in court to get yourself taken off of a no-fly list. There is nobody to call and ask why. Folks, I'm telling you, if he gets this over, every name that is in the United States government's possession as being an American or being an immigrant with a green card or being anybody in this country, the no-fly list will be 360 million names long. And you will have ultimate gun control. It cannot be allowed to happen. Under no circumstances. Okay, and this idiot president of ours wants Congress to make it harder for people to call or to buy what he called these powerful assault weapons. Folks, you should look at you should take a look at the cartridge that the AR-15 shoots. This is not a tank killer. It's not even a Volkswagen killer. The AR-15 is an effective semi-automatic rifle that fires a decent size round. And when used properly in the hands of somebody with a little bit of training, it is an effective weapon. It is not a powerful assault weapon. Cue the Darth Vader music again. The dark path. Oh, that's fantastic.
Come down the dark path to radicalization.
Yeah. Look, folks, assault, we all know it's a behavior. It's not a weapon. Okay? My weapons do not get up and go out during the daytime and look for people to kill while I'm at work. And I know yours don't either. Because if they did, there'd be a whole lot more shootings out there. So, once again, let's back it up to the no-fly list deal, okay? Because this is a non-starter. Anybody who thinks that this possibly has an inkling of a chance of being anything close to constitutional is insane. All right, so we did make it right to the bottom of the hour, and I'll go ahead and stop right here with it. We're going to run some commercials, pay the bills, and when we come back, we're going to continue on with tonight's program. Thank you again for being here. See you in a couple.
Not on my watch, our military service members say, as they volunteer to serve, as they move out, stand firm, and take fire. So not on our watch, we say, to the severely ill or injured veterans who can't get the care they deserve to live full and independent lives, even when there's no government funding or a nursing home seems like the only option. We won't leave one warrior behind. Not on our watch. Join us at findwwp.org.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Oh, but ain't that America? You and me. Ain't that America? Something to see, baby. Ain't that America? Home of the free, yeah.
We had some technical difficulties during the commercial break. Mr. Producer and I were not able to contact one another. But that's okay. I think we're back normal here, maybe. Anyway. Priority 1 message coming in on secure channel. Why, of course I have a priority 1 message coming in on a secure channel. Okay. Anyway, when we left off, we were talking about the faux pas of President Obama with his wanting to make everybody on the no-fly list unable to buy a gun. And we had discussed about why that is a mistake by itself. I know it sounds good on the surface. It really does. Because you're thinking, oh, yeah, if you're on the no-fly list, you probably have some kind of terrorist connection or know a terrorist or something like that. Yeah, well, nothing could be further from the truth, folks. We've got politicians on the no-fly list. Again, probably not a bad thing to keep them from owning guns. But we have toddlers on the no-fly list. And we have air marshals on the no-fly list. Of course, of course, that's what you want, is somebody that's on the plane to defend you, not able to carry a gun. But how does he get on the plane if he's on the no-fly list? How can he be an air marshal and be on the no-fly list? What the hell's going on with our government? It takes me back to the very top of the show, to what Trump was referring to. And again, I'm not a Trump fan. I'm not a Trumpkin. I'm not a Trumpkin head. whatever you want to call it. And it kills me that he wants to make this no-fly list a no-buy list as well for firearms. And like I said, the minute that Congress allows him to do that, 360 million Americans' names will be on the no-fly list, and Obama will have his gun control. I'm telling you now, this cannot even be considered an option. And if you'd like to weigh in with your 2 cents, whether it's in agreement, whether it's different, or whether it's completely opposite, you can reach me at 408-681-8255. That's 408-681-8255. Hey, that's an interesting point, Mr. Producer. Go ahead and fire your mic up and say that live on the air, please, in dealing with this no-fly list.
All right, yeah, not a problem. So the no-fly list, the biggest issue with that is having worked for an airline, anyone with the same name gets flagged. It doesn't matter that it's not tied to social. It can be named. Basically, what winds up happening is once you're flagged, you have to contact each individual airline and even the FAA to get what's called a redress number. What you then do is anytime you're traveling, you have to give them that redress number so they know it's okay to book you a ticket, because by then, the FAA has verified that you are not the person matching the name on the no-fly list. So, just to clear that up for everybody.
Well, there you go. And that's exactly, and you can stay with us for a second, Rick, because I do have a question about that. I have never worked for an airline. You have the experience. This is not an easy chore to do, is it?
No, it's very time consuming, and it's really difficult to act. Once you're on the list, you have to jump through about 14 years worth of paperwork to get yourself off the list. So it's really easy to get on it. It's very hard to get off of it, but you can make sure that you're still allowed to travel if you can prove that you're not the guy that's actually supposed to be on the list, or gal, depending on circumstance.
Right, which goes to what I was saying. Effectively, if Congress allows him that, he has gun control, because he'll dump everybody on the list.
Yeah, and then it's going to take them several months to get their redress number, and I guarantee you the redress number won't work when you go to buy a gun, but that's another story. And let's not forget, while we're on the subject, that the IRS just got the authority to suspend your passport if you owe taxes.
There you go. There you go. So you can't even flee them. At least not internationally. Okay. So that's some fantastic information to know there. Thank you for letting us know that. But this, you got the FBI still investigating San Bernardino. I will say this, okay? Even though it was a broken, garbled, rambling paragraph of Obama male bovine verbal excrement, he did manage to utter the 3 words or 3 special words in the same sentence or paragraph. I don't know what we'll call this, but he did say extremist, Muslim, and terrorist all in the same, we'll call it a run-on sentence. How about that? We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. They were all in the same run-on sentence / mini paragraph. And, he actually called Fort Hood a terror attack. So, Mr. President, why don't you do the right thing and just sign the paper making it a terror attack and give these people the support they need from their government to make sure that they're taken care of the way they're supposed to be taken care of, instead of you trying to nickel and dime your way around admitting what is and isn't terrorism. All right. Now, I'm gonna push off of that, and man, let's move to Josh Earnest. because this is just golden. Golden. So Josh Earnest says it's unfair to compare President Obama's attitude toward the enemy with that of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who held office when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. To make comparisons like that only serves to inflate ISIS and to buy into their fantasy that somehow they're leading a war against the West on behalf of Islam. They're not, said Earnest. That's a fantasy. Let me tell you what's a fantasy, apparently. Apparently, where Josh Earnest plants his head in that tiny little place between the left and right buttock cheek on the backside of his body is fantasy land. Okay, he has taken the same position as POTUS has on what Islam is and what it isn't. And Josh Earnest, another one who has not read the Quran. These radical Islamists, you know what? They're not even radical. Okay? They're following the teachings of their quote-unquote holy book. Now, I don't find it very holy, and most of the world doesn't find it very holy, but they are following the teachings of the Quran. It's perverse. And for these people in the administration to prance around, yeah, spot on, Mr. Producer, spot on. They prance around and they try to make Islam out to be this, oh, it's so wonderful and peaceful, and if you only understood it. Mr. President, we do understand it. Mr. Earnest, we do understand it. And we had comments from a reporter. Well, the reporter asked Josh Earnest about comments made by Republican Mike Huckabee. Appearing on Fox and Friends, Huckabee wondered, could you imagine FDR going before Congress and saying, we were attacked yesterday on Pearl Harbor. I really don't want to talk about who did it, but, you know, we just want to say that they were terrible people and they were thugs. At Monday's White House briefing, a reporter quoted Huckabee to Earnest and said, do you think it's a fair comparison? To which Earnest replied, no, I do not. And I think only to make comparisons that only serve to inflate ISIS. And again, I refuse to call them the name that ends with the L. Okay? Those of you who understand my point on this, if you understand what the Levant is, what it really is, you would never call ISIS the word that ends with L, like Obama does, and insist that his staff does. Okay? To the Muslim world, the Levant is a map of the Middle East. And the Levant does not have Israel on that map. That land that is Israel right now is separated into Muslim countries and known by their country names, not by Israel. That is what the Levant is. And I will never, ever call them that name that the president does. And that's just a small little thing that I do. That's my way of showing a little bit of respect for Israel and a little bit more support than I already show in other ways for Israel. And that's just me. And you can do what you want, but don't expect me to like it if you come around spouting that stuff. So, Ernest was quick to point out that the United States and the other 65 members of our coalition have mobilized to counter ISIS. So the president and the leaders of countries around the world certainly takes this threat seriously. But it's also important for us to recognize it for what it is. And I think that's, why the president has taken the approach he has. Because let me tell you something. Since Russia planted their butt in Syria to start hitting ISIS, they have dropped more bombs and flown more sorties than the United States has in the last 3 years. Bet you didn't know that, did you? Obama's approach is to say that the Islamic State terrorists are not Islamic. He refuses to use the term radical Islamic terrorism, and you don't even have to use that. Just call it Muslims being Muslims. You know who are radical? They're the people that profess to be Muslims that don't follow the Quran. That's radical. We did a spot almost a year ago on people just like that, the so-called moderate Muslims, even here in the U.S., and how they raise money in and outside of the mosque, and they turn that money into the mosque, who is turning it back around and sending it to ISIS to support them. So Obama Sunday night also said, we cannot turn against one another by letting this fight be defined as a war between America and Islam. That, too, is what groups like ISIS want. ISIS does not speak for Islam, the president insisted. They don't have to speak for Islam. They are acting in accordance with what is written in the Quran. They don't have to say a word. Their ideology does all their talking for them. And no matter how you defend it, Mr. President, no matter how you defend it, it is a perversion of a so-called religion. You call them part of a cult of death. You call ISIS thugs and killers. They are that. And they are part of a cult of death. Islam is that cult. And the Attorney General is threatening anybody that comes down heavy on Muslims and Islam. Well, you know what, Attorney General Lynch? I'm here. I'm out on the airways. This is free. My Twitter account is at @TCC_Grouchy. Come get some. I'll see you in court. I don't care. I'm sick and tired of Americans being second and third class citizens in America. Obama thinks the way to defeat ISIS are outreach in the Muslim communities, calling them some of our strongest allies. Fantasyland bullcrap. Oh. All right, enough of that. Enough. We got something else I want to hit on tonight. Okay, another of this administration's fallacies that they just continually beat the world up, especially domestically here at home in the U.S. on. Listen to this very closely, please, okay? The projected increase in global temperature averted by President Obama's pledge to reduce U.S. carbon dioxide emissions 28% over the next decade comes out to 0.04 degrees. 0.04 degrees. 4/100ths of 1 degree. Over a decade, to the tune of nearly $1 trillion in a negative economic impact. This is from the assistant director of the Cato Institute Center for the Study of Science. He testified before a House Committee on Science, Space, and Technology last month. He said he told the committee that the U.S. actions aimed at mitigating future climate change by limiting CO2 emissions from U.S. power plants and the rest of the economy would have this inconsequential impact on future climate change. Now, this man's name is Paul Knappenberger. This is a very smart man. He said a widely available climate modeling tool developed under the funding from the EPA, okay, this is Obama's EPA funded this, shows that compared to worldwide CO2 emissions, any cutbacks by the U.S. would amount to a proverbial drop in the bucket. And I think we might actually have some audio on this. If we do, Mr. Producer, let me know when it's ready, and we'll go ahead and hit it.
The president, when he goes to Paris, he's going to commit, or he's going to pledge a 26 to 28% economy-wide reduction by the year 2025. Okay, so that includes the clean power plant, and there's going to be some other reductions that are going to come from somewhere that no one knows just yet. But even with that 26 to 28% reduction by the year 2025 that the president's going to pledge in Paris, that still only gets you about 4/100ths of a degree of warming averted by the year 2100, which again is nothing really. But you're right, the president even wants to go further, because he's going to say, but, what I'm pledging to you in Paris is just one step along the way to an 80% reduction by the year 2050. I mean, in an 80% reduction, that's like a per capita CO2 emissions that is the same as what the U.S. was emitting per capita during the middle of the Civil War. It's like 1865 levels or something like that. So, I mean, it's a complete transformation of the energy system beyond what we can even imagine.
That's perfect. Thank you, Mr. Producer. Okay, there you have it, folks. So if we follow the president's plan and cut the CO2 emissions like President Obama wants, back to Civil War era levels, we avert 4/100ths of a degree of quote-unquote global warming by the end of the century. Now, if we make the cuts, like Mr. Knappenberger said, if the 28% is just the first step, and the 80% cuts are to be done by 2050, we're looking at trillions upon trillions of negative economic impact in the economy. Trillions upon trillions of dollars to negate 4/100ths 1/100th of a single degree. When are people going to stand up and make this type of insanity in D.C. stop? Some people are going to gauge the success of the UN's COP21 climate change conference in Paris on whether they come back with something that's legally binding. But I would be surprised if they come back with anything that's legally binding. And I'll tell you why. Because Congress is already starting to put their foot down and say they want some say in this. They want oversight on this. And this is why it's going to be some kind of loosely structured agreement along the lines of we're gonna try to reduce our emission intensity by about 40% by probably 2035. However, even if all the carbon reduction pledges were honored, their total impact comes very, very close to the same temperature you get if you just presume business as usual going forward with no directed actions at mitigating climate change. So basically, what comes out of Paris in this climate summit, if you will have absolutely no impact on the future course of climate in this lifetime. Friends, how can that be worth? How can that possibly be worth trillions upon trillions of dollars of negative impact to American industry? It's going to cost jobs. It's going to cost money. It's going to cost resources. And it's going to cause us to squander resources that we currently use and have stockpiles of. Well, we're about to the top of the hour here, folks, and that's going to do it for me tonight. I am so glad you could join. I am very much looking forward to the holiday season as we ramp up here heading towards Christmas. I don't exactly know what the holiday schedule will be just yet. I will let you know next week, though, when you tune in to K98Talk.com, which you should be doing every night, by the way. Rick Robinson's going to be coming up a little later with America Off the Rails. You don't want to miss that. That's a nightly program here on K98Talk.com. Tomorrow night, God, I don't even know. JD and Stacy tomorrow night doing Game On. I don't know what else is in the lineup. There's been some recent changes.
We have For Whom the Bell Tolls at 7, 8 Eastern. And we have JD and Stacy at 9 Eastern, 8 Central.
Okay, so we have Lou and we have JD and Stacy tomorrow. And we have Rick tomorrow night also, assuming that Rick's good to go tomorrow night.
I'm here every night, Pinky.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, that's your tomorrow lineup. And like I said, you should just be listening every night, especially during the primetime hours. You simply can't match the quality of conservatism that's being brought to you free of charge on K98Talk.com. I promise you, it beats the crap out of anything you could be watching on TV. So do yourself a favor. Set your bookmark, K98Talk.com, K98Talk.org, and the players are there on the page. All you got to do is hit the button, turn up the volume, open your ears, sit back, and learn. And have some fun, too. So anyway, that's it for me tonight, folks. I've been kind of warned that we have a little surprise going on the way out here with the bumper out music. So, Mr. Producer, as I say goodnight, hit your surprise and let's make everybody laugh.
In a second.
Oh, in a second.
Well, I didn't want it to start playing over you. Now it's taking forever to queue up. Dang it.
Okay. Well, good night, everybody. I'll see you next week.
Apparently my plan is not going to work. Let's try this. I'm not shutting down till you play.
Wow, talk about some technical difficulties on the fly here.
Yeah, well, what can I say?
Oh. Obama, Obama, oh, oh. Obama, Obama, oh, oh. Obama, Obama, oh, oh. Obama, Obama.
This here's that new hit, Michelle Obama, the floatist. This one's for the middle class. This term's my last. I got work, you see. Free community college and roads to fix in the city. Got vacation days to use up, and damn, my golf shot's pretty. I'm too hot. Hot damn. Climate change has got me on fire, man. I'm too hot. Hot damn. Teabaggers call me a liar, man. I'm too hot. Hot damn. Hope and change, you know who I am. I'm too hot. Hot damn. And the redistribution of money, check it out. Tax increase, hallelujah. Woo! Tax increase, hallelujah. Woo! Tax increase, hallelujah. Woo! Obama bunk's gonna stick it to you. Obama bunk's gonna stick it to you. Obama bunk's gonna stick it to you. My massive spending will never stop. Don't believe me, just watch. Let me be clear. I'll say it again. Republicans, don't believe me, just watch.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.